Hello, I'm David Hughes. Welcome to Your Perfect Body, the podcast of the Esoteric Teaching Community. Today's selection is an essay entitled, Kṛṣṇa is the Controller. Now in our detailed study of Bhagavad-gītā, we reach the point where Arjuna concludes his arguments, creating the pretext for Kṛṣṇa's instruction by flatly refusing to fight. Sanjaya uvaca, evam uktva hrsikesam, gudakesah parantapah, na yotsya iti govindam uktva tusnim babhuva. Sanjaya said, having spoken thus, Arjuna, chastiser of enemies, told Kṛṣṇa, Govinda, I shall not fight, and fell silent. Bhagavad-gītā 2:9. In the previous sloka, Arjuna told Kṛṣṇa that there is no profit in this fighting because the enemies are all my relatives and teachers. Even if I am victorious, I will become unhappy by killing them, so what is the use of fighting? That kind of false renunciation sometimes takes place because of ignorance. Actually, it is not very intelligent, even from a material point of view. Now, in this shloka, evam uktva, having said that, so there is no profit in fighting, evam uktva hrsikesam, he is speaking to the master of the senses, Kṛṣṇa. And in the previous shloka he has said, sishyas te ham prapannam, Bhagavad-gītā 2:7. I am your surrendered disciple. So now, instead of speaking as friends, Kṛṣṇa becomes the guru and Arjuna becomes the disciple. Formerly they were talking as friends, but friendly talking cannot decide any serious question. When there is some serious matter, it must be placed before one's superior authority for conclusive judgment. So Arjuna surrenders to the supreme authority, Kṛṣṇa. The greatest authority is hrsikesam, as we have several times discussed in these series. Hrishika means the senses, and Isha means the master. Hrishika, Isha join together as hrsikesah. Similarly, in this shloka, Arjuna is called gudakesah. Gudaka means darkness or ignorance, and Isha, as before, means master. So Arjuna conquered over his ignorance by surrendering to Kṛṣṇa and accepting him as the spiritual master. Om ajñānatimirandhasya jnānanjana shalakaya chakshur anmilitam yena tasmai Shri Gurave namaha. I offer my respectful obeisances unto my spiritual master, who has opened my eyes, which were blinded by the darkness of ignorance, with the torchlight of knowledge. Shri Guru Pranam, a traditional Vaishnava prayer to the spiritual master. Everyone is born a fool. Everyone is originally in darkness. Therefore, even though one is a human being, he requires education. An animal cannot be educated, but a human being can. A shishya, a disciple, comes to the guru for enlightenment or spiritual education. Therefore, the guru's first duty is to educate the disciple about the spiritual ontology. This spiritual education is the prime duty of human life. The esoteric teaching says, Rishab uvaca, Nayang deho deha bhajang nriloke, kastan kaman arhate vidbhujang ye, tapo divyam putraka yena sattvam, Sudyed yasmad brahma saukyam tvanantam. Lord Rishabdev told his sons, my dear boys, of all the living entities who have accepted material bodies in this world, one who has been awarded this human form should not work hard day and night simply for sense gratification, which is available even for dogs and hogs that eat stool. One should engage in penance and austerity to attain the divine position of devotional service. By such activity, one's heart is purified, and when one attains this position, he attains eternal blissful life, which is transcendental to material happiness and which continues forever. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 5.5.1. In the animal species of life, we have to work very hard, day and night, simply for the four necessities of life: eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. The main object of animal life is sense gratification. Therefore, the animals have to work very hard. In the human form of life, Kṛṣṇa gives us so much facility, like language, reasoning, and intelligence. We can live very comfortably. Well, that's all right. We can make our standard of living very comfortable as long as we simultaneously pursue the higher purpose of attaining perfection in Kṛṣṇa consciousness. But don't live like animals, simply working hard day and night to increase sense gratification. Otherwise, what is the value of this human life? Modern human civilization is focused almost exclusively on how to live comfortably. But they want to expand sense gratification unlimitedly, and there is no facility for spiritual inquiry. That is the mistake of modern civilization. In the Bhagavad-gītā it is said, Yuktahara viharasya yukta chetasya karmasu yukta svapnavabodhasya yogo bhavati dukkhaha. He who is regulated in his habits of eating, sleeping, recreation, and work can mitigate all material pains by practicing the yoga system. Bhagavad-gītā 6.17. Yes, you must eat, you must sleep, you must satisfy your senses and arrange for defense. But as much as possible, you must not divert attention from the process of self-realization. We have to eat, yuktahara, that's a fact. Yuktahara is all right, but not atyahara, eating more than necessary. Rupa Goswami has advised in his Upadeshamrita, Atyahara prayashascha prajalpo niyamagraha lauyam jana sangascha sadbhir bhaktir vinashyati. One's devotional service is spoiled when he becomes too entangled in the following 6 activities. 1. Eating more than necessary or collecting more funds than necessary. 2. Over-endeavoring for mundane things that are very difficult to obtain. 3. Talking unnecessary about mundane subject matters. 4. Practicing the scriptural rules and regulations only for the sake of following them and not for the sake of spiritual advancement. Or rejecting the rules and regulations of the scriptures and working independently or whimsically. 5. Associating with worldly-minded persons who are not interested in Kṛṣṇa consciousness. And 6. Being greedy for mundane achievements. Sri Upadeshamrita 2. If you want to advance in spiritual consciousness, because that is the only meaningful objective of life, then you should not eat more than necessary, atyahara, or collect more than necessary. Atyahara prayashascha prajalpo niyamagraha. We avoid unnecessary eating, collecting, mundane talk, and insincere practice of religion, cheating religion. That is our philosophy. So we observe, as far as possible, some regulative principles of moderation in sense enjoyment. Why? Our philosophy is that everything belongs to God. Bhoktaram yajyatapasam sarvaloka maheshwaram suhridam sarvabhutanam yatva mang santim richati. A person in full consciousness of me, knowing me to be the ultimate beneficiary of all sacrifices and austerities, the supreme lord of all planets and demigods, and the benefactor and well-wisher of all living entities, attains peace from the pangs of material miseries. Bhagavad-gītā 5.29. Kṛṣṇa says, I am the enjoyer, bhokta. So, bhoktaram yajyatapasam. Kṛṣṇa is the enjoyer of all sacrifices and penances. Just like this whole body is working to enjoy life, but the enjoyment begins from the stomach. You have to give sufficient nice food to the stomach, then you can enjoy everything else. If there is sufficient energy, we can digest our food, and then all the other senses become strong and you can enjoy sense gratification. Otherwise, you cannot. So, sense enjoyment begins from the stomach. The luxuriant growth of the tree begins from the root, if there is sufficient water. The trees drink water from the legs, or roots, not from the heads. We eat from the head.